Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we're going to bring you another report, really just, a curiosity of mine that I found this morning, and I want to share it with you guys. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com. That's the home for all of our content, where you can download my books for free, you can watch our documentaries for free, you can find our different podcasts, essays, articles, etc. Everything you want to know about our network you can find here. And of course, you can follow us on Minds, on Hive. You can join our Discord channel. If you want to get updates directly to your phone, join my text list. You can also find us on Float, on BitChute, on Library, and of course YouTube and Facebook. But if you would like to support, do so at patreon.com/DerrickBroze. Alright, so this morning I was finishing up my new investigation, which is on Mint Press News. It hasn't been published yet, but it might be in the next couple days or by the time you're hearing this. And it's about the global race to 5G and the people behind that. So as I was doing my research, I found this report from Democracy Now!, which, I don't really follow Democracy Now! Much these days, but I think over the years, Amy Goodman's probably been more good than bad. Some would call her a gatekeeper, but I think overall she's done a job that mainstream won't do, or at least she did before. This is from 1999, so 21 years ago. Special on cell phones, are they harmful to your health? And she interviews a couple of people in this. It's worth listening to. It's about 45 minutes long. But she talks to this guy named David Renard, who I wrote about in my article, and his wife died in 1992 of a brain tumor, and that led him to filing a lawsuit against this company NEC, which is a cell phone operator at the time. I do not believe they're around anymore. He then went on Larry King Live on TV, and his lawsuit made headlines, and it led to a congressional investigation, and was a really big deal, especially because this is 1993, the early 90s. So cell phones are nowhere near where they are now, but they were just starting to become more and more used by people, car phones and cell phones. And it says at the time there were 15 million cell phone users. So think about that. This was in the lawsuit was in 1993, 15 million cell phone users. This report is in 1999. 80 million cell phone users. I don't even know where the numbers are right now, but it's got to be well over a billion in the world, of course, and I would say the vast majority of the U.S. population. Well, anyways, it goes into interviewing him, Mr. David Renard, the guy who sued because his wife had a tumor and she died. And when he was speaking, he said that, he was an ex-cop, and so he had kind of an investigative mind, and he decided to start digging into this whole topic of the dangers posed by radio frequency radiation, cell phones, and all that kind of thing, wireless radiation. And he mentioned something. He said that, my whole my thought process changed when I discovered a Military Handbook 238. He said, and I went back and listened to it, and he talks about it, and then I just searched, and I'm going to show you guys what I found. I've got more than a few documents here. None of them are exactly what I'm looking for yet, but I'm hoping that maybe with this video, if somebody has a better way to search or a more direct search, or just knows where it's at, they might be able to provide it. So this website, everyspec.com, really provided a lot of interesting information. You can search here for military specs. And I searched, as you can see, Military Handbook is abbreviated as MIL-HDBK-238. And I came up with a few different returns on this. I haven't found the original, the actual original handbook that is titled Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards. It was apparently originally issued in 1973, but what I have found is a couple of different things. So I also looked using this website. I found Military Handbook 240, Department of Defense Handbook, Hazards of Electromagnetic Radiation to Ordnance. That's what they call HERO. And basically what this particular thing is testing for Air Force and Army, Navy, and the Marine Corps, and about how to protect their equipment from electromagnetic radiation. I haven't been able to find anything specifically that talks about biological health, but I also haven't found the original Hazards of Electromagnetic Radiation, Military Handbook 238, that this gentleman, David Renard, mentioned was kind of a big paradigm-shifting document. What I have found here is, you see this, it says Military Handbook 238, Notice 2, Military Handbook, Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards, June 23rd, 1983. And it's a cancellation. It says basically it cancels this program. Let me show you guys that one. Where do we got that? Okay, right here. This is the one that I just went over. It says, as you can see, Military Handbook 238, Navy, Notice 2, June 23rd. Military Handbook, Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards. Military Handbook, 238, dated August 10th, 1973, is hereby canceled. So it was originally apparently started in August 1973, and by this notice, number 2, June 1983, it's canceled. And that's it. That's all. That's literally all this paper is. So I'm trying to find the actual Military Handbook 238, the original, which looks like it was originally produced in August 1973. Instead, all I found is this notice of cancellation, which is what this leads to right here. As you can see, it says canceled, FSC code, and I've searched this, electromagnetic compatibility. I've been really digging around. Department of Defense Handbook, again, this, as far as the abbreviation HERO, it means Hazard of Electromagnetic Radiation to Ordnance. And so there are different tests that they do. From what I can see, they describe different types of tests that the military has done to study the effects on their equipment. As you can see here, let me show you what I'm looking at. This is Department of Defense Handbook, Military Handbook 237D from May 2005, which supersedes 237C, Electromagnetic Environmental Effects and Spectrum Supportability Guidance for the Acquisition Process. It's military lingo, so it's kind of dry. But I went here to where it says electromagnetic radiation hazards. And as you can see, what they're focused on is, it says EMR can have harmful effects on personnel, that's the people, fuels, and ordnance if uncontrolled. These effects are discussed below, and here we go. HERP is the potential hazard that exists when personnel are exposed to an electromagnetic field of sufficient intensity to heat the human body. The fact that heating is associated with absorption of radio frequency powered by humans was known nearly 50 years ago and led to the introduction of radio frequency diathermy for medical and surgical purposes. The heat resulting from radio frequency field interactions simply adds to the metabolic heat load of the human. If the body's heat gain exceeds its ability to rid itself of excess heat, the body temperature rises. So they're mainly focusing on heating, but we definitely know that there are other concerns outside of just heating when it comes to electromagnetic radiation. Therefore, if significant power is absorbed, an increase in body temperature can occur that could have a competing effect on metabolic processes with potentially deleterious effects. Radar and EW systems present the greatest potential for personnel hazard due to their high transmitter output powers and antenna characteristics. Personnel assigned to repair, maintenance, and test facilities have higher potential for being overexposed due to their tasks. So then they go on talking about fuel and, this ordnance and other forms of electromagnetic dangers. But that's pretty much, from what I can see, the only one that really deals with personnel. But again, I haven't found what I'm looking for, which is this Military Handbook, Electromagnetic Radiations 238. Again, we have the notice number 2 when it was canceled, and I found various books that did have it listed in it, and that's what I opened up here. So we're going to do this live. You can see here, Electromagnetic Capability, Naval Electronic Systems Command Military Handbook 238, Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards, August 10th, 1973. And then we have this here. We click here. This is from the book Suggestions for Designers of Navy Electronics Equipment by the Naval Ocean Systems Center. So it's an old military handbook. Electromagnetic compatibility involves minimizing the generation of EMI to make the equipment less susceptible to EMI and reduce the amount of EMI that enters or leaves the equipment. Electromagnetic interference is what that stands for. EMI may be minimized by the judicious selection of components and the use of good engineering practice. Failure to give timely consideration to EMI control usually results in unsatisfactory equipment. Later attempts can seldom remove EMC problems without a major redesign. Military Handbook 238 describes numerous radiation hazards and ways to handle them. And it has a footnote number 39. It says numbers in parentheses indicate applicable paragraphs. Let's see if we can find this footnote 39. All right. This is what we do when we do it live. This book is weird. It's got all these little drawings. Okay, this is just listing steps. I need to find the end of this chapter so we can see this. So what my question is for you guys, can anybody find Military Handbook 238, which was released on August 10th, 1973? And does it say anything about more than what we just read about personnel? Or is it simply dealing with how the military, is going to protect their equipment? It could be that. I'm not trying to come in here and claim anything. All I know is that when I was listening to that interview with Amy Goodman, this gentleman who sued the film company over his wife's brain tumor, who said he had investigated the matter, that when he looked into it, this Military Handbook 238 was a very big deal to him because he said it was proof that the military was already aware of the dangers. Naval Electronic Systems Command Military Handbook 238 Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards, August 10th, 1973. And this is another military handbook, Electronic Reliability Design Handbook. I looked in this one. I don't think I found anything that was similar. This is another document that I found here, and I'm just searching electromagnetic radiation to see what pops up. Naval Shore Electronics Criteria, Electromagnetics Capability, and Electromagnetic Radiation Hazards. That's August 1971. Hazards, Design Principles and Practices for Controlling Hazards of Electromagnetic Radiation. So again, that's more about equipment. And Hazards of Electromagnetic Radiation to Ordnance. That's called HERO. And let's just search 238 and see if anything pops up. Nothing under 238. Oh, well, there we go. Page 238, but nothing, not Military Handbook 238. So I don't know, guys. This is just a part of my investigation. Like I've talked with you guys recently about the CIA documents, the declassified CIA documents that come from Russia, the former Soviet Union, that have talked about this. Those are from the 70s. I've been looking at those, trying to see what exactly they say. I know they talk about the dangers of millimeter waves, but anybody who wants to help with that investigation and find the key points that I need to know, please share those with me. And if anybody knows more about Military Handbook 238, then please let me know. I just wanted to share this with you. Maybe it's not a super important video. Maybe there's nothing to it. I don't know. But this is just part of the investigation process. Trying to compile as much research and as much data about all the dangers of 5G and cell phones, etc. And I'm gathering lots of information. So if anybody has more details, please feel free to share it. Until next time, thank you for listening. This is Derrick Broze, the Conscious Resistance Network. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.